Hey everyone, welcome to Mountain Beast Mysteries. This past August, a story came out in the news of a family of 3 and a dog that were all found dead on a hiking trail in the Sierra National Forest. I know I'm very late in making a video on this, but I wanted to wait and see if any new information had come out about it regarding the cause of death. So on the 17th of August, search and rescue found the bodies of a man, a lady, who was his partner, and their small child, who was a 1-year-old girl, as well as their dog. This is very sad and devastating, obviously. Nature is meant to be enjoyed, and all the hiking trails are meant to be enjoyed and used for recreation. So when stuff like this happens, it's sad and it's truly devastating. The strange thing about it, though, is that the bodies of the family members were void of any noticeable sign of death. So no trauma or anything visible to the human eye, and this is really bizarre. Usually people who go missing in the woods and turn up dead generally are not unscathed, whether it be from an animal attack or due to a misstep over perilous terrain. And the bodies weren't even left out in the elements for very long. I think they were found 12 hours or so after they were reported missing. It really has been a true mystery as to what killed this family. Now, you can go online and you can read all the articles about the story and all the theories and speculation as to what killed them. But like the title of this video says, is Bigfoot responsible for this? Is that even a possibility? The theories you'll read about mainly focus on a toxic algae bloom of some kind at a nearby water source that was the culprit. And for this to happen, they would have all had to probably drink the water. And I'm not sure to what level you would have to treat water like that to make it potable. The rule of thumb to pretty much every outdoor enthusiast is to just stay away from stagnant water altogether, which is usually where algae blooms happen. Stay away from stagnant water and just try to find a fresh spring or something like that, even if you have a water filter or can boil it. All kinds of bacteria and toxins can be building up in there. So I personally wouldn't put any effort at all into trying to filter or boil stagnant swamp water. I can understand the dog drinking it though without having any way of knowing, but the idea that these 2 adults drank the water and let their kid drink it seems quite strange to me. And I'm not 100% sure how experienced these people were, but on the one video I watched, it was a news video, they stated that the couple were avid hikers. So what the heck, you'd think that they would know better. Sometimes you go to places like this and you see people with varying levels of experience going off into the wilderness, and you kind of wonder, which ones are going to get hurt and which ones are completely oblivious to the dangers around them. Another theory you'll read about is the idea of some sort of poisonous gas in the air, like carbon monoxide or something like that, something like maybe H2S. Those gases can be extremely harmful and certainly would kill a person. However, I find it odd, that the autopsies were complete just days after the bodies were recovered, and we still haven't heard anything confirming that. You'd figure they would come out with a statement, after finding that out. It'd be very beneficial to warn other people in the area, or maybe close that area off if there was poisonous gas in the air. They would say, hey, look, these people died due to exposure to such and such gas, and we'd advise people who are looking to visit the general area to not do so at this point, blah, 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 or something like that. At least that's what I would do, or, anyone else with common sense. Now, I know they did, tape off the immediate area where the bodies were found, but that's not gonna, stop a gas from, traveling through the air. Another theory that I came across was that perhaps a lightning strike was the cause due to damage to these people's central nervous systems. Obviously, lightning strikes can kill a person, but I'm almost certain that if these people were struck by lightning, there would be some sort of physical evidence of that on their bodies and, on the immediate environment around where they were found. After working in wildfire myself and seeing firsthand the damage of lightning strikes and what they can do to a tree, I'm sure that, there would be something making it obvious that this is what happened. Now, it's interesting that damage to the central nervous system was described in an article I read, because in the world of Bigfoot, we hear so many reports of them potentially using infrasound to ward off people or other threats. It's known in the Bigfoot community as zapping. Most of us here know that already. Some people will just feel an incredibly high level of intense fear, while others, will collapse to the ground and, they can't remember what even happened to them. Some people become physically ill, they suffer from nausea and dizziness and so on. The interesting thing about infrasound, though, is that it can actually kill a person. High levels of infrasound does in fact damage a person's central nervous system. It's also invisible to the human eye, you can't hear it. It's at such a low decibel level, you can't detect it. When you read about infrasound and the effects of infrasound, this news story of this family that died in the Sierra Nevadas really starts to line up with that idea. I'm obviously speculating, of course. I didn't do the autopsy. There's little information online about, the specifics. But, it's the end of September now, and the cause of death hasn't been confirmed, so, can an animal, or in the case of Bigfoot, a being, even be capable of producing these sounds? Well, the answer to that question is yes. Aside from the massive amount of witness reports of zapping and experiencing things that match up to the effects of infrasound, there are animals out there in the animal kingdom that we know for a fact are capable of producing and emitting infrasound. Tigers use infrasound, to drive away rivals and to attract mates. Elephants use infrasound to communicate over vast distances. Even hippos and rhinos, and a variety of ocean fauna like squid and cuttlefish. Animals are capable of producing sound frequencies that would blow your mind, and not just low frequencies of infrasound. Like a sperm whale can produce sounds at incredibly high frequencies of over 200 decibels. That's insane. The call of a humpback whale can travel over 4,000 miles and be heard by other whales across the globe. And these feats are real. I bet if someone was told about them 100 years ago, they would laugh and scoff at it, but today we know these things as facts. Anyways, we know so little about Bigfoot that it is possible, based on reports of them emitting something that seems like infrasound, that, it is in fact infrasound. And think about this. Like, what is another Bigfoot event that happened in the Sierra Nevada mountains? The recording of the Sierra Sounds back in the 1970s. A remarkable series of Bigfoot encounters by Ron Moorhead and his hunting buddies produced some of the most incredible examples of Bigfoot vocalizations ever produced. I've always believed that the Sierra Sounds are genuine, and I trust Ron Moorhead personally. He really does seem to be an honest man, at least based on my interactions with him. The Sierra Sounds, much like the Patterson footage, have stood the test of time and haven't actually been debunked. One could say that a man could replicate the noises, but that's pretty much the same as someone saying that they can replicate the paddy walk. The Sierra Sounds were recorded in the nearby mountains, the same general area. To assume that Bigfoot creatures roam all over the hills near and around the Sierra National Forest is not far-fetched. Perhaps this family ran into an angry Bigfoot, and the end result was that they were hit with high levels of infrasound, killing them all. I think the idea is worth looking into, or at least worth talking about. It's scary, though, because you think of this invisible infrasound, potentially dropping all these people. Meaning, like, if you're out in the wilderness, you could probably die at any time without even seeing it coming, if Bigfoot can produce infrasound. Another interesting thing to mention is that the specific location where the bodies were found was called Devil's Gulch. Now, for some weird reason, we've noticed here at the Alberta Sasquatch organization that there's usually an abnormally high amount of Bigfoot encounters that happen in places where the word devil is in the name. Lots of mountainous areas have places with devil in the name, and we hear of lots of Bigfoot reports from those places. It could just be coincidence, But we suspect that, way back in the day, in the early 1900s and in the 1800s and before that even, these creatures were referred to as devils or mountain devils. Hence, the areas where people had run into them being named, as such, Devil's Gulch, Devils, whatever. It's just something to think about. I wonder what news, will come out in this case in the coming weeks or months, or if we'll even hear about it again. And maybe at the time of this video being uploaded, the truth has already been discovered. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. What are your theories? Thanks for watching this video. We'll see you next time on Mountain Beast Mysteries.